Oh, those guys, huh? They took off. A bunch more opening up here, a couple dying back. But just that one 402 app made them jump. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. I might actually come through in here and cut these down. I mean, they're a foot tall. Better than a foot tall. But yeah, that was just one time. Everything kind of took off when I did that app. So we're going to do something else though today. Let's do it right now. It is a beautiful day on the lawn. Things are looking pretty stellar around here. Earlier this week, I got that new reel mower. I went out and cut everything with that, and I have cut it twice since then, just taking off maybe like a 1/4 inch at a time. Looks good. The other thing I did that I didn't do any filming with, but that day I spent a lot of time out in the grass. I came through and leveled out some of those low spots where the rodents had been chewing. So that's what this is. Right in here, I actually took some potting soil mix and just some kind of random stuff I had laying around, and the soil worked its way through. So I'm gonna be raking up the extra, you know, bark and stuff that was in it. But you see over here how much this came along and leveled out across this section where they were really doing a lot of damage. Now this is mainly where my kids are swinging, and there were a few ground squirrels getting back in there, but I think that I have gotten rid of that problem at least maybe 90%. I'm gonna walk you through everything that I did with that. So those ground squirrels, the Uinta ground squirrels, they've been the bane of my existence for the last little while, and I've pretty much thrown everything that I knew to do, plus stuff that I'd never done before. And I'll take you through everything that's been done since it started this year. So, you know, first of the year, I did the rabbit thing. Still have no rabbits, okay? That stuff kicked their little tiny furry butts. So I stand by that 100%. Did nothing for the ground squirrels. The next thing I did is I went and grabbed some of this, Repels-All. Satisfaction guaranteed? Nah, maybe for the ground squirrels. They didn't care at all. In fact, they were back eating on the grass within like 10 minutes of this going out. So that was nothing. Then what? What we do next? Ooh, animal repellent, Tomcat. What's in here? Peppermint, cinnamon, sodium lauryl sulfate, garlic oil. That seems like it would do something. I think maybe this lasts about 6 minutes. Okay, garbage. What else did we do? Uncle Ian's mole and gopher, deer, rabbit, squirrel repellent. This stuff stinks to high heaven. What was awesome about this is I got it all around the perimeter. I even put it through the center of the lawn, and it attracted a ton of flies and more ground squirrels. That didn't work. So I finally went out and went with the big guns. Gopher gasser. I went and found the few holes that were up here that kind of led down into the lawn that way, where they've been chewing over here. The ones that were in the rocks over here, there was like 4 holes through here. There were a few up in that bed over here, and there were some down in here, and one under the slides. That one under the slide they drilled out so that they could come in and get around that sensor, which was just, they're genius. So I lit those bad boys up, covered all those holes, and I haven't seen them since. So actually, that's not true. I have seen them. I don't know how much of a population was affected, or if they're just abandoning those tunnels now at this point. Because if you remember, I did this weed kill up here, right? It didn't affect the grasses, but now that the grasses, the native grasses, are drying out because we're into summer, they've created seed heads, and in general, that's what these rodents do. They come up here and they'll start eating the seed heads. So this morning I actually saw them up here, not down here. So that was all good news for that stuff. But these, no bueno, no bueno, no bueno. Hot sauce doesn't work. It was just sort of an exercise in futility. So that's what's gone on. As far as the ground squirrels, I feel like I've made some headway, and I'm gonna be able to really get this thing cleaned out. Just in the last 3 days, it's been 3 days, I guess. I mean, the lawn has evened out just tremendously from where you could see all those little bumps and rises and things like that. So it's starting to grow back in the way that I want it. Even this area that was always sort of thin where they were really doing a lot of damage, I've got the new grass that I seeded is starting to come back in again, which is good. So we're getting that back just in those couple days, because they were in here eating this, and you can see that tunnel cut right through the middle here, and they just chewed all this up. Here's their, you know, telltale, just nubbed all the way down. So I'm hoping I get, it's just a little tiny piece. And in fact, I'm gonna do something fun with this. I've got to go down and pick up a shipment that came in. I have a pallet of material that's down at the FedEx terminal. And on that is some straight humic 12. And I'm actually gonna take this area about from where I threw that bottle right there, across here, this little kind of horseshoe, and I'm gonna put a gallon of humic on that, just on that section, and wakey that soil. So anyway, let's now talk about what we're gonna do today. Alrighty, so today what I'm gonna be doing, now you can see the color of the lawn. It's good. It's really good. First, I need to point out something that I did. There was a huge mistake. Last night I was messing around with my sprinklers around like 8:30 p.m. and I was running them just a little bit. My kids came out, I got distracted. I went to bed with them running. And so they ran for like, I got up at 5 this morning, so a long time, 9 hours. So the ground is a little moist. That's all right. I'm just not gonna water for a few days, but this might be the first month that I go over my allotment from the water company. Anyway, what I'm gonna be doing today is actually doing 700 Greeneffect iron. I haven't put any of that on my lawn ever. And so right now, in real time, it is 9:15 a.m. I am going to spray this out, and I am going to go at actually a pretty heavy rate. I'm gonna go at 15 ounces, 1,000. Now I'm gonna tell you why I'm doing that. That's high. It's high for what's recommended on here. In my spray service, I used to run it in the summer on like 6 to 8 week rotations at that rate, basically 5 gallons an acre, and that's all we did in the summer. So from June to September, 700, that was it. And it kept lawns green and not pushing any growth, because this is not the growth time for cool season grass. This is actually some more of a stress time, right? So you don't want to put a ton of in out and try to force things out. So its growth cycle is spring and fall. That's really where you're getting the most push of growth on your plants. That's why you can seed at that time. That's when the energy is, likes those cooler temps. So we're gonna keep it at low in rates. I still am not over a pound. You know, again, if you guys wanna go back through every single one of my videos where I fed something, we've gotten a small amounts of 1801, still 27 ounces total for the season, a couple doses of 002. I did some d-Thatch early on. I've done some aerate, and we did 402 2 weeks ago. It worked really well. So that's all that's gone down. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this, and then what I wanna see is if we can notice a color change within a couple hours. That would be interesting. So maybe we will, maybe we won't. But it'll be fun to find out. So let's do that right now. 24 ounces, 1,500 square feet. So it's like 16 ounces instead of 15 per thousand. That's what we're gonna run it at. And I always leave this thing set on 8 ounces because I kind of fly through the lawn. Let's get this knocked out. Okay, so Done. Obviously, it doesn't take me long to do anything out here. Pretty fast. I'll come back out and check on it in like, oh, 2 hours. Let's say it's 9:25 right now. So we'll come back out and see. Maybe we'll see something. Maybe we won't. Yeah, looks damn good though. All right, so while I have a little time, I'm going to talk a little bit about low nitrogen programs, why I do it this way, why, you know, grass doesn't need everything that's being put out. It's been 6 minutes since I cut the take over there. Over the last, now coming up on 17 years, I have not run a lawn program that has had more than 1.25 pounds of nitrogen a year. And even in Florida, in the states where there's high demand because the soil porosity is high still, some of my biggest customers that have been around for a long time, 1.25, and in some years they haven't even hit a pound in a year, where competition is doing like 6 pounds a year. So, you know, we've been able to really sort of formulate the soil in a sense, because we're putting down so many soil adjusting materials every single time we do it. Now here's the effect. This is what happens. Grass doesn't need to grow tall. It doesn't need to grow tall. Once it hits a certain height where you like it, you can keep it there very easily with a low in program, because if you have to skip a week of mowing, it's not going to grow 10 inches. So if I were to let this go, based on what I was seeing coming off the clippings in the last few days, right? I might be growing 1 inch a week. I might be growing 1 inch a week. And that's not very much. It's not very much, but it's got this incredible color. It's got incredible density. There's still not a weed in here, okay? And that's great. But the grass is so thick, you know, obviously I had those places where it was kind of burned out from the rodents, but it's thickened up just in this very short time, 4 days. Those areas have started to close really well, and it's because the grass is spreading from the root system and it's sending out new shoots like crazy. It's not putting its energy into burning nitrogen to have this massive cell division above ground. It's photosynthesizing wonderful. It's got tons of solar panels out here just loading up and sending energy down into the roots. So we're getting this thick, dense turf with good color and no weeds, and I'm doing that with very little in. So by now we're at it's almost July 1st, right? It's June 28th. So June 28th, in a normal cool season program, by now most guys are at 2.5 pounds of in per 1,000 for the year, and maybe a little bit higher. And then they're going to come in and load up some more going into the rest of the season to get, if a guy is being managing his inputs, you know, 3 pounds they can get away with on cool season, depending on where you are in the country. Many are still doing 4, 5, and 6. I mean, I know plenty of guys that are going that high, and you don't need to. Now, one of the biggest things and one of the best things about running a low end program, and you would hear this from every single person that you talk to across my customer base, is that the fungus instances go down so far. Do they go away completely? No. Can you still find it? Sure. There's always things that are going to contribute to that. It's a soil pathogen. You know, it is what it is. But we don't really get it. And even people dealing with fairy ring, necrotic, stuff like that, where they've had years and years and years where they've dealt with it, it goes away and it doesn't come back. And that's without treating with any fungicides. So what we've seen consistently over the last almost 17, 18 years is that the lower we can actually get the in rate, the less weed population, the less disease population, the less insect population. We just get less and less and less. And lawns stay thick and healthy and green, and you get the result that either you want as a customer or that your customers, if you're a pro, want to see. So again, I suppose on total inputs now, I'm somewhere around 5/8 of a pound, I think, for the year. 5/8. maybe I'll hit a pound this year. I mean, I could come out and just, you know, consistently hit it with like high rates of 1801, but I do it based off of what I'm seeing, based off what the need of the lawn is. If I'm looking at it and it looks weak and it looks anemic and it's like completely stunted, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to nail it with some N, but nailing it for me is like a quarter pound. So I want people to understand the importance of that as to why you don't need to just push and push and push and push your turf. You can. If that's your passion and that's what you want to do, that's great, go for it. It's incredible the expense that becomes part of doing that though. Not only just in the overall material that you're putting out, like for your fertilizers and you know, anything else. You're gonna start adding in so much more in probably grub control and fungus and this and that. You'll start to see more and more of it because you push things so hard, and anytime there's a buildup of nitrogen in the soil, there's a creature that'll want to take it out. And you know, fungus, a lot of fungus feeds on that, so that's why you have to be careful and manage it. Now, I also have not run phosphorus in our products since 2008, 2009, I guess, was where we were completely phosphorus free. And that was mainly because there was a lot of things changing across the country, places that were doing phosphorus bans and taking out because there was so much in the waterways. Now, part of that's because of eutrophication of upstream lakes and things like that. Some of it is fertilizer runoff, and you know, phosphorus can move. It does move around. So, you know, I'm not against using phosphorus. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it, but I think that people need to watch the amounts that they're putting down too. I mean, the reality is, if you've got 40 pounds of phos in your soil, you're not going to need to do anything for a while. There's really no other reason to be putting it out at that point. You know, if you've taken a soil test and it shows what you've got and you can see that your midline is around 20 pounds, 40 parts per million. So, you know, be looking at that, 20 pounds, 40 parts per million, 40 pounds, 80 parts per million. So manage that. You don't really need to be putting it out every time. It's one of those ones that can be easily over applied in lawn care just by accident. And you can end up tying up your soil and doing things like that. So that's all I have to say about phosphorus. Anyway, that's what I want to point out about low nutrient materials. We'll come back out here and take a look at this now, and it's been a few more minutes. Take a look at it and see what's going on. All right. All right, so it's been 2 hours. Okay, we're good with that. I'm gonna put it on like a split screen and we'll see if we can really tell the difference. I don't know. Obviously the sun has changed position. It's about right there. You can kind of see the shadows are still off to the side. So we're not straight overhead yet. So it's similar light, but it's not the same. Whereas before it was kind of coming across. And so for any of you people out there who really want to find anything wrong with anything that's ever done on a YouTube video, the light has changed. It's been 2 hours, so it looks really good. I don't know, it looked really good before. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Happy Fert Dance Friday. Hit me up. Any questions or comments or anything you guys need, you know where to find me. I'll talk to you real soon.